Welcome on in, golf fans. It's your boy Gsluke here with our prop preview for round one at the Scottish Open. We've got ourselves an early lock, so make sure to get your slips in early. But here in this video, going to break down what to expect from the Renaissance Club, a little look at the weather, and then of course what you guys are all here for, a look at some of my top props available on Underdog and Prize Picks that you might want to consider playing for Thursday's action. So first off, we're on the other side of the pond. So over there in North Berwick, Scotland, if you aren't familiar, which I'll zoom out here a little bit, give you a look at the map, is over in the UK. So if you're looking over there in America for your win stats, you're looking at a different North Berwick, well, make sure you're looking at the right golf course. But it's a difficult one. Last year was extremely windy all 4 days, including a scoring average of 1.75 over par for the remainder of the golf tournament. So you saw a lot of people over par, a winning score of just 7 under there for Xander Schauffele. Second place was 6 under, 5 under for Tom Kim in third place. And overall, you're expecting a similar type of effect this year. We've got heavy winds for pretty much all 4 days, and really the only pocket of weather that looks like it might be scoreable is there on Friday morning. So when we're looking at props here for Thursday, right, taking a look at that forecast, we've got in the teens wind gusts for pretty much the entire day, if not into the 20 to 24 mile an hour range. So I'm expecting this to play very similar to what it did last year. And unfortunately on Prize Picks Underdog, we don't have the most selection here, right? There's no greens of regulation, no fairway props to choose from. In these videos, right, I like to go over all the research because for rounds 2 through 4, right, we might end up getting those over there on Prize Picks. So it's worth noting that last year, the fairway percentage was lower than 50% and the green and regulation percentage was lower than 60%. So both of those extremely low compared to what you usually see here on tour. And in fact, you can see, right, driving accuracy was a whole 11% lower and about 7% lower over there for the green and regulation percentage. So if we end up getting those, obviously take a look at the round one averages to get an idea of what to expect for round two. All of that, if we get those boards for round two, will be posted on my Patreon page. So I just wanted to throw the research out there. Low fairway percentage, really tight fairways that you have to hit. And even with some of the recent rain that they've gotten, over here in North Berwick, it's worth noting, they've gotten rain 25 of the last 30 days here in the area, including extremely heavy rain over the last 3 days. So it should play a little bit softer than what we saw last year. So though we have the same kind of winds as what we had there in 2022, I do think we're going to have a more receptive golf course. So when we're looking at some of the averages, I do think it's going to play a little bit easier, maybe closer to like a stroke over par scoring average. And then your fairway percentages, your green and regulation percentages are also probably going to be a little bit higher this year than what you had for last year because of the fact that it's playing more receptive. So we're throwing that all out there, you know, for your exposure. If we're looking at one wave versus the other, it kind of looks like the PM wave might have the better conditions tomorrow. So that's interesting. Typically, right, it's the AM wave that has the better conditions because greens are going to be receptive, a little bit more pristine. But tomorrow we've got lower winds in the PM wave, right? So that kind of counteracts that kind of effect there. Hopping over into the prop board, a couple birdie props I want to take, and I've got to say, guys, this week the prop boards are all over the place. There has been a ton of bumps on both sites. Underdog opened guys like Scotty Scheffler at 66.5 strokes. They had him up at 70 strokes a few hours ago. So they're all over the place. I mean, they opened Rory at 67 strokes. He was the whole way up to 69.5 strokes an hour or two ago. And yeah, when those guys were at like 69, 70 strokes, you know I hammered those under. So a lot of movement, a lot of different slips that I have in. But the last real value that I see here are on these birdie props. So I've got the Haddon over, the JT over here on Prize Picks, and on Underdog I'm going with JT and Sam Burns. Unfortunately, they have Haddon at 4 birdies over here in Underdog, or else I would have gone with just the same 2 picks on both sites. But we'll talk through them. So Terrell Haddon's a PM wave golfer, like I said, might actually be the advantageous wave, but these AM wave guys are going to have better greens and slightly more receptive greens. It's not like I think they're going to have all that much trouble making birdies. It's worth noting birdie average last year was just 2.71 per round. So much lower, right, than these 3.5 projections. So that's not the reason we're getting there. Don't get me wrong, but we've got to consider the field strength. We had DP World Tour players guys last year that were hardly qualifying for this event, right? Older guys like a Luke Donald in the field, etc., that are changing the averages, right? Outliers that are skewing some of the stats. So for an elite tier player like a JT Burns, I ran an average last year of just some of your top end players, and they had a closer to a 3.8, 3.9 birdie or better average. So that's the average I'm going off of here. I know JT's not playing all that well. I know Sam Burns even, maybe not in the best form. Terrell had slam dunk play, right? PM Wave and is out there in some of the best form, but even guys like a JT Sam Burns, who maybe aren't in the best form over the last event or so, but for the season are top 20, top 25 on tour and birdie or better percentage, are guys that I'm comfortable getting to. So there was definitely better value that was out there, right? I wish we had the green and regulation, the fairway boards that we typically do. But unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with at this point, right? I know we're close to lock anyways, so there's usually not all that much value to be had. As per usual, if you want all of my slips, right, you want the best chance to go out there, lock in some value, get in my Patreon page, right? I know I'm out there promoting my site and whatnot, but it helps grow the channel, gives you guys the best access to those props, and because these sites are so reactive, really the best way to get my props before anything moves is to get into the Patreon. I know it sounds like, oh, he's just trying to sell his picks, which I am, of course, right? It helps me grow the channel here, right? But at the same time, right, they're going to get bumped due to action, and if you want to get into that action before it moves, you've got to be on the Patreon page, right? If I posted these for free every single day I could, you would have next to no chance to get them because everyone's getting notifications, everyone is watching the videos, and that action is going to move them. So it's kind of unfortunate, is what it is. That's kind of what Underdog Prize Picks has done to us at this point, but like to get the research out there. Worth noting, right, round one's going to give us a lot of data, so take a look at the scoring average after round one. It'll really help you for rounds 2 through 4. Your driving accuracy, your green and regulation percentages, you'll be able to find that on Data Golf if you have a subscription there. All of that, use it to your disposal. So I can go out there, grind out some value, and if you want to find the best available lines, you've got to get these prop boards when they first drop, right? That would be my other piece of advice to you. Other than that, that is all I've got here for round one of action. I appreciate all the support here on the channel. Go ahead, smash that like button on your way out. Also, go ahead and comment your top prop on the board. We'd all love to hear it, right? Let's go ahead and feed the community a little bit, right? Let us know what you're locking in for round one. And until next time, best of luck with those slips, any DFS lineups if you're going in that direction, and let's get this cash.